Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and this is my latest tutorial. This is how to make the Monster Slayer Ravager blade. 9 feet long, $23 it costs to make this project. And you can use this technique that I show you to make all kinds of different swords, you name it. So you want to make a very big sword, this tutorial will show you how to do it. I did make a miniature version of this sword for the Dragon Slayer. I give you the template for that. Thanks for watching my videos. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing. If not, what do? Hit that button! Dioramas, origami, catapults, and trebuchets, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, rattle rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. Okay, this is what I used to make this sword. This is a 8-foot long sheet of formula. I picked it up at the Home Depot for $21. And I did a bunch of drawings on it first with a pencil lightly so I could get the shape right. And once I had the shape right, then I drew over all those lines, the correct lines, with a marker so I could see everything clearly. There, it looks good, minus the teeth and the handle. This is the major bulk of the sword. Consider that if you're making a different sword. And then I cut it all out and I used a hot wire foam cutter. Give me a thumbs up if you want me to do a tips and tools video on hot wire foam cutters. But you can cut this foam with a lot of stuff. A hacksaw blade, any kind of serrated knife, it's really very easy to cut. And with a hot wire foam cutter, you can also do the beveling for the teeth like that. Instead of cutting all the way through, you cut like an edge on it. And once I had that shape all done, I moved on to cutting, measuring, and cutting the various teeth on the sword. And there are 5 of them. And each one is a little larger than the previous one. So now, this is a good tip for making big swords like this. If you have anything that sticks out like this, or small parts, you might want to insert a dowel into them so you can do this and then insert that into the sword, and that will make it stronger for the glue to hold. It's very easy to do. And if you don't have dowels, you could always just snip the end off of the eraser off a pencil and sharpen it and use that. And then I use liquid nails for paneling. Some liquid nails will melt foam. This is the type for paneling. I think the container says paneling and maybe subfloors, but it'll say for paneling and foam. Okay, then the handle, 1 1/4 inch dowel, 4 feet long. I spent, I think it was $2 something, maybe $3 for it. I sharpened a point on it and then inserted that into the end like this, 1 1/4 inch dowel. And really put it in there a long ways, like a foot, because the further in it goes, the stronger the sword and the handle will be, the less prone to breaking. And this extra piece here that's on the Monster Slayer Ravager is really nice because it adds strength to the handle when you're holding it and swinging it. I carved a little pommel, glued that on the end, and there you go. The sword is built. The basic shape of everything is done, so now let's do some detail work. Added the bevels to the teeth. I call these teeth. And that's a good tip for you. You start with the bigger things first, and then you slowly work your way down to the smallest details. That's usually a good rule of thumb. So we built the biggest section first, if you noticed, and then we moved on to the medium-sized ones, and then we move on to the smaller ones, and now the detail work. Including various, I don't know what you would call these, like gullies that separate the pieces of metal, and it looks really good. I cut these out using a Foamworks foam cutter. So I cut at a 45-degree angle, then I'll switch it over and cut at 45 again, and then I can remove that piece of foam, that long strip of foam. Gives it a good look. Now some sandpaper for all the various rough edges, particularly on the teeth. And then more details. And then I cut some with wood, out of wood dowel, 1-inch dowel, I cut some little checkers and glue those on. And that's it. It's built. Let's paint it. Easy enough. A coat of silver for 1/2 of the sword. And for the various beveled teeth, silver. The other half of the sword is black, and so is the handle. And then I accentuated the silver while it was still wet with some red. And it looks good. I like that look. Now some detail painting. Including rivets. And remember, you can use these techniques to make any large sword. And then you can paint this on if you don't have, I have some of this edging tape. But that's it. Your Ravager is done. Remember, like I said, use these techniques to make just about any sword. Buster sword is very popular. Now, if you want to do the miniature, I do have the template. You can download it. The link is in the description of the video down below. There are 3 pieces to it. Trace those onto foam board or cardboard and then glue them together like this. One goes underneath the main blade. And one goes on top of the main blade. And for the handle, you can use a pencil. If that's all you have, you can trim it to the size you want and insert it in there. I used a piece of dowel. Glue that right in and the sword is done. It just needs paint. And very similar to the large one. Silver. The bevels on the teeth. Have fun. If you make this project, particularly the large sword, send me a picture. I will put it on my website and send you a certificate of contribution. That's it. Our Dragon Slayer, he has a Monster Slayer sword too. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch.